This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
First up, the Arab League has strongly condemned Israel's recognition of Somaliland, calling the move an aggressive and unlawful act that violates international law and threatens regional security. On the move, Nigeria and the U.S. carry out airstrikes on Islamic State enclaves in Sokoto, targeting foreign fighters from the Sahel. In space, Russia launches 3 Iranian satellites from Vostochny Cosmodrome along with 2 Russian Earth observation satellites and dozens of small payloads. Meanwhile, Russia claims fresh territorial gains in eastern Ukraine, claims swiftly denied by Kiev as fighting continues across the front lines. Across Southeast Asia, an immediate ceasefire is still in effect between Cambodia and Thailand after renewed border tensions earlier this month, with both sides agreeing to halt troop movements and all forms of hostilities. Stay alert! The Philippine National Police warns citizens to avoid sharing travel plans and personal activities online during the holidays. And on court, Giannis Antetokounmpo made a successful comeback after an 8-game absence, guiding Milwaukee to a road win over Chicago. I'm Carlo de la Peña. Newsline World starts now. An immediate ceasefire is still in effect between Cambodia and Thailand after renewed border tensions earlier this month, with both sides agreeing to halt troop movements and all forms of hostilities. Thailand and Cambodia signed a ceasefire agreement on Saturday after delegations from both countries met at a border checkpoint in Thailand's Chonburi province. Thai Defense Minister Natapon Nakpanit and his Cambodian counterpart signed the agreement at the meeting venue. Cambodia's defense ministry said both sides agreed to an immediate ceasefire effective noon local time on December 27, covering all types of weapons and prohibiting attacks on civilians, civilian infrastructure, and military targets. Both sides agreed to maintain current troop deployments without further movement. Tensions flared along the Thai-Cambodian border earlier this month. Thailand reported several soldiers and civilians killed during evacuations, while Cambodia reported 15 civilian deaths and 76 injuries. Authorities said up to more than 420,000 people were displaced. The agreement follows a previous ceasefire brokered by China, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, and U.S. President Donald Trump on October 26 this year, which both sides later accused each other of violating. After the signing of the renewed ceasefire, Trump congratulated Thailand and Cambodia, calling the outcome fast and decisive in a post on Truth Social. Myanmar has begun voting in its first general election since the military seized power in 2021, with polling taking place in selected townships across the country amid criticism over the credibility of the process. Kai Villan for the details.
Myanmar kicked off its 2025 multi-party democratic general election with the first phase held on Sunday. Polling stations opened from 6 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon across 102 townships in the Southeast Asian nation. The election for Myanmar's 55 million people is scheduled to be held in 3 phases, with the second phase set for January 11, 2026, and the third phase on January 25. A total of 57 political parties are taking part in the election, although only 6 are eligible to run nationwide. Voters are electing members of Myanmar's Union Parliament as well as state and region parliaments. The new Union Parliament will later elect a president to form a new union government. The Union Election Commission said more than 21,500 polling stations were set up nationwide. The election has been criticized by the United Nations, several Western countries, and human rights groups. Myanmar's last general election was held in November 2020. Months later, the military overthrew the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi, who remains in detention. Her National League for Democracy party has since been dissolved. Reporting for Newsline World, Kai Villan, SMNI News.
Dramatic footage from the battlefield are emerging as Russia claims fresh territorial gains in eastern Ukraine. Claims swiftly denied as Kiev or by Kiev as fighting continues across the front lines. New footage released by Russia's defense ministry shows Russian troops operating inside Dmitrov in the Donetsk People's Republic. The video shows Russian soldiers throwing a grenade into a basement, followed by scenes of troops raising Russian flags and embracing one another, including some dressed as Red or Dead Moros or Father Frost. Russian Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov later briefed President Vladimir Putin, reporting the capture of Dmitrov as well as Stepnogorsk and Gulyapol in the Zaporizhia region. Putin praised the operation, calling the reported advances important results that could open the way for further movement by Russian forces. Ukraine's general staff rejected the claims, saying Dmitrov and Gulyapol remain contested, while conceding that Ukrainian troops are facing difficult conditions in the area. In space, Russia launches 3 Iranian satellites from Vostokny Cosmodrome along with 2 Russian Earth observation satellites and dozens of small payloads. Stay alert! The Philippine National Police warns citizens to avoid sharing travel plans and personal activities online during the holidays. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulung at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, sa kapalalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling, gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita, na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod, pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakakadepress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop. Kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen, magbasa, makipagkwentuhan, magdasal, maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
Sa panahon ng tag-ulan, hindi lang baha at ulan ang dapat bantayan, kundi pati na rin mga sakit na pwedeng makahawa. At dahil ngayon ay rainy season, nagbabala ang Department of Health laban sa tinatawag na wild diseases. 4 na klase ng sakit na karaniwang nakukuha ng tao tuwing maulan. Ito ang W o waterborne diseases, gaya ng pagdudumi o gastroenteritis. I o influenza-like illnesses, gaya ng sipon, ubo at lagnat. L o leptospirosis, na maaaring makuha mula sa ihi ng mga daga sa baha. At D o dengue, na dala ng mga lamok. Kapag baha, mas mabilis kumalat ang mikrobyo. Kaya't ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at agad maligo matapos lumusong sa baha. Ano ang dapat gawin para maiwasan ang wild diseases? Tumutok sa weather updates. Magsuot ng kapote at bota. Siguraduhing malinis ang iniinom na tubig. Agad kumonsulta sa health center kung may nararamdamang sintomas. Mainam din gawin ang 40 o ang taob, taktak, tuyo at takip. para maiwasan ang dengue sa bahay at komunidad. Maglinis, magmasid, mag-ingat. Labanan ang wild diseases ngayong tag-ulan. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
Russia's rocket successfully placed 3 Iranian satellites into low Earth orbit from the country's Vostochny Cosmodrome as part of a multi-payload mission that also included a pair of Russian AIST-Z2T Earth observation satellites and dozens of additional small satellites. This report.
A Russian Soyuz 2.1B rocket lifted off at 16:48 Tehran time Sunday from Vostokny, delivering 3 Iranian remote sensing satellites into orbit about 500 kilometers above Earth. The satellites, Zafar-2, Paya, and Kosar 1.5, were launched with 49 other satellites, including 2 Russian AIST-2T Earth observation craft and various international payloads. Iranian officials called the mission a major step for Tehran's space program and a symbol of growing cooperation with Moscow. Paya, built by Iran Electronics Industries, is Iran's heaviest satellite at 150 kilograms and uses artificial intelligence for environmental and resource monitoring. Zafar-2, developed by Iran University of Science and Technology, supports resource monitoring and disaster response, while Kosar 1.5, built by a private company, provides high-resolution imagery for agriculture, water management, and territorial observation. This marks at least the 7th time Iran has used Russian rockets, highlighting enduring space cooperation despite Western sanctions and geopolitical tensions. Iran insists its program is strictly peaceful, though some Western officials have expressed concerns about potential ballistic missile applications, claims Tehran denies. As the satellites begin operations, officials in Tehran and Moscow say the collaboration reflects shared strategic interests in space technology, with more joint missions expected in the future. The launch underscores Tehran's growing space capabilities and its deepening partnership with Moscow, signaling continued collaboration in science, technology, and satellite development.
Grieving families continue to mourn and demand accountability more than a year after a deadly disaster that killed 179 people in South Korea last year, saying the lack of transparency and official responsibility has caused them so much pain. Joy Tabanao has the story.
Grieving families gathered at the Tencom site to remember the victims of a deadly disaster that claimed dozens of lives as cause for accountability and transparency continue more than a year later. On December 29, 2014, Jeju Air Flight 2216 crashed, landed, and slammed into an embankment at the end of the runway, erupting into flames and killing 179 people. Relatives of the victims say they have endured months of emotional and psychological and physical suffering, frustrated by what they describe as a lack of responsibility from authorities. One bereaved family member said no official had clearly acknowledged wrongdoing or offered an apology since the tragedy.
가슴에 뭐랄까 돌덩이가 하나 큰 게 꽉 얹힌 것처럼 그냥 그렇게 살았던 것 같아요. 소화도 안 되고 막 뭐 잠 못 자고 이런 걸 다 떠나서 그냥 뭔가 이 179분이 돌아가셨는데 어느 누가 무슨 뭐 잘못했다, 미안하다, 아니면 내지는 무엇은 잘못된 것 같다 이런 게 한 번도 지금까지 없었잖아요. 그리고 그렇기 때문에 좀 답답해서 이렇게 1년을 진짜 보냈죠.
Families have maintained a protest shelter near the site, arguing that its presence has helped prevent the removal of a controversial embankment that was initially blamed on pilots. Only recently did the National Human Rights Commission rule that the embankment was improperly constructed and order corrective action. Relatives say they are uncertain how long their struggle for truth and accountability will continue, but hope the situation can be resolved as soon as possible.
저희가 이제서야 권익위원회에서 뭐 준덕이 잘못됐다 시정해라 했지 지금까지 계속 한 번도 그렇지 않았거든요. 뭐 조종사의 잘못으로 몰고 가고 그래서 뭐 준덕을 쉽게 말하면 뭐 지킨다기보다지만 지키는 의미도 있고 우리가 만약에 쉘터가 없고 여기 유가족이 없었으면 준덕이 이미 제 생각에는 없어졌을 수도 있겠어요.
Some family members say the tragedy has changed her understanding of public responsibility, stressing that sustained public attention is essential to ensure justice and prevent similar disasters from happening again. Meanwhile, South Korean President Lee Myung-jae apologized to the families of the people who died in the incident, promising to reveal the truth about the crash. Lee also promised to provide support that covers psychological, medical, legal, and livelihood sectors with a priority of the bereaved families. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un attended a high-profile ceremony at the Mansudae Assembly Hall in Pyongyang to mark Constitution Day, closing out the year with a symbolic political event. The ceremony highlighted the importance of North Korea's constitution and its role in shaping its governance and socialist system. Kim Jong-un also delivered remarks praising what he described as North Korea's progress and development. The ceremony also included cultural performances and formal proceedings. Kim also greeted North Korea's national under-17 women's football team who won the 2025 World Cup. The event is a part of Pyongyang's grand finale to 2025 amid heightened regional tensions. It also follows inspections of missile factories earlier with Kim Jong-un and his daughter. Up next, the Arab League has strongly condemned Israel's recognition of Somaliland, calling the move an aggressive and unlawful act that violates international law and threatens regional security. On the move, Nigeria and the U.S. carry out airstrikes on Islamic State enclaves in Sokoto, targeting foreign fighters from the Sahel. And on court, Giannis Antetokounmpo made a successful comeback after an 8-game absence, guiding Milwaukee to a road win over Chicago. Newsline World will return.
Sa kabila ng mga mas modernong kaalaman at teknolohiya, nananatiling matindi ang banta ng HIV sa Pilipinas. Pero gaano nga ba kalala ang sitwasyon? Ang HIV o Human Immunodeficiency Virus ay isang sakit na sumisira sa immune system ng katawan. Ngunit tandaan, hindi ito nakukuha sa simpleng pakikisalamuha. Hindi mo agad mararamdaman, pero unti-unti nitong pinapahina ang katawan. At kapag hindi naagapan, humahantong ito sa AIDS, ang huling yugto na impeksyon, kung saan halos wala ng panlaban ng katawan laban sa sakit. Patuloy na dumadami ang kaso ng sakit na ito sa Pilipinas. Isang nakababahalang pagtaas. Umabot na sa 500% ang itinaas ng HIV cases sa mga kabataang edad 15 hanggang 25. Ayon mismo sa Department of Health, 56 na bagong kaso ang naitatala kada araw sa bansa mula Enero hanggang Marso 2025. At ang pinakamatinding apektado, ang kalalakihan at kabataang Pilipino. Dahil dito, ang Pilipinas na ngayon ang may pinakamataas na bilang ng bagong kaso ng HIV sa buong Western Pacific region. Isang indikasyon ng lumulubahang sitwasyon. Kaya nananawagan ng Department of Health gawing opisyal at urgent ang laban sa HIV sa pamamagitan ng isang Public Health Emergency Declaration. Kalalakihan ng pangunahing apektado, 95% ng bagong kaso ay lalaki. Mahigit 1/3 ay kabataang nasa edad 15 hanggang 24. Habang wala pang deklarasyon, patuloy ang DOH sa mga sumusunod na hakbang: HIV testing, libreng gamot, self-test kits, at pakikipagtulungan sa DepEd para sa edukasyon sa mga paaralan. Isinulong rin ng DOH ang online patient appointment system para sa HIV patients. Layunin nitong gawing mas madali at mas personal ang pag-access sa libreng gamutan at konsultasyon. Ayon sa schedule ng pasyente, ang HIV ay hindi tulad ng flu. Hindi ito basta naipapasa sa hangin. Ito'y naipapasa sa pamamagitan ng personal na desisyon. Kailangan din nating pagtuunan ng pansin ang ugali, disiplina at personal na responsibilidad. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
U.S. President Donald Trump met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Palm Beach as talks to end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine continue. Ahead of the talks, a small and subdued crowd lined the roadside to greet Zelensky with what looks like a muted public reception ahead of the closely watched meeting. Paul Montibon will give us more details.
A muted reception greeted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as he arrived to Palm Beach, Florida for high-stakes talks with U.S. President Donald Trump. A small roadside crowd gathered to welcome Zelensky, a stark contrast to the large public displays of support seen during previous visits abroad. Security was tight as Zelensky motorcade passes through, with few supporters waving flags or holding signs. The subdued turnout comes as Zelensky prepares for crucial discussions expected to focus on the future of the U.S. support for Ukraine, ongoing security concerns, and diplomatic efforts to end the war. Despite the low-key public reception, Ukrainian officials have stressed the importance of continued dialogue with U.S. political leaders, calling the talks critical for Ukraine's national security and long-term stability. But before the talks, Trump first talked with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the phone, describing the call as very productive in a Truth Social post. Zelensky and Trump held a joint press conference following the meeting. Zelensky praised the talks and the progress made.
We discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have a great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and U.S.-Ukraine security guarantees, 100% agreed. U.S.-Europe-Ukraine security guarantees, almost agreed. Military dimension, 100% agreed. Prosperity plan being finalized, and we also discussed the sequencing of the following actions. And we agree that security guarantees is the key milestone in achieving lasting peace, and our teams will continue working on all aspects. We also had a joint productive call with European leaders, like President Trump said already, and a lot of leaders, including NATO and EU, and we agreed that our teams will meet in upcoming weeks to finalize all discussed matters, and we agreed with President Trump that he will host us, and maybe in Washington, European leaders and Ukrainian delegation, yes, in January, and Ukraine is ready for peace.
I had an excellent phone call with President Putin that lasted for over 2 hours. We discussed a lot of points, and I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close.
For God, my beloved country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montibon, SMNI News.
Nigeria's Information Minister Mohammed Idris says the government carried out coordinated airstrikes with the United States against 2 Islamic State enclaves in Sokoto State, targeting foreign fighters allegedly infiltrating the country from the Sahel. Let's find out more from Jane Cognita.
That these locations.
Speaking in a national address from Abuja on Sunday, Idris said intelligence identified the locations as assembly and staging grounds used to plan large-scale terrorist attacks inside Nigeria. He said the operation was conducted in close coordination with the United States and approved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Good evening, gentlemen of the press. The federal government of Nigeria, in close coordination with the government of the United States of America, has successfully conducted precision strike operations against 2 major Islamic State ISIS terrorist enclaves located within the Bawni axis of Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State. Intelligence confirmed that these locations were being used as assembly and staging grounds by foreign ISIS elements infiltrating Nigeria from the Sahel region in collaboration with local affiliates to plan and execute large-scale terrorist attacks within Nigerian territory.
Idris said the strikes were carried out between midnight and 1:30 a.m. on Friday, December 26, using GPS-guided munitions deployed from MQ-9 Reaper drones, with full involvement of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Authorities said debris from the operation landed in parts of Sokoto and Kwara states, but no civilian casualties were recorded. Security and emergency teams
Public cooperation remains crucial to maintaining peace and order. The National Bureau of Investigation has echoed the warning, urging the public to be cautious when engaging on social media and to avoid interacting with unknown accounts. Police units across the country remain on heightened alert as operations continue through the new year to deter theft, robbery, and other criminal activities. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montebon, SMNI News.
For sports, Giannis Antetokounmpo made a successful comeback after an 8-game absence, guiding Milwaukee to a road win over Chicago, while Japan's Naoya Inoue closed out a busy year with a hard-fought unanimous decision win over Mexico's Alan Picasso in Riyadh, retaining his undisputed super bantamweight titles. Here are the latest updates.
Antetokounmpo scored 29 points with 8 rebounds in 25 minutes, helping the Bucks beat the Bulls 112-103 and ending Chicago's 5-game win streak. Head coach Doc Rivers said limiting his minutes was part of his recovery from a right calf strain, but noted his return boosted team confidence. Milwaukee improved to 13-19, with Bobby Portis adding 17 points and 10 rebounds. Meanwhile, San Antonio's 8-game streak ended after a 127-114 loss to the Utah Jazz. Victor Wembanyama led the Spurs with 32 points and 7 rebounds, but Utah pulled away late behind Lauri Markkanen's 29 and Keontae George's 28. The loss dropped San Antonio to 23-8, while Utah rose to 12-19. Around the league, the Knicks extended their winning run for 4 after a 128-125 victory over Atlanta, with Karl Anthony Towns scoring 36 and Jalen Brunson adding 34. Houston topped Cleveland 117-100 behind Kevin Durant's 30. The Nets defeated Minnesota 123-107, led by Cam Thomas' 30 off the bench. And Orlando edged Denver 127-126, with Anthony Black posting a career-high 38, outlasting Nikola Jokic triple-double. Meanwhile, Inoue improved to 32 wins with 27 knockouts after successfully defending his belts for the 6th time. He went the distance for the 2nd straight fight, acknowledging after the bout that fatigue from an intense year affected his performance. The 32-year-old said he was tired and described his showing as not good, despite outclassing Picasso from the opening rounds. Picasso absorbed heavy shots throughout but refused to go down, using his height advantage and late pressure to push the fight to the final bell. Judges still awarded Inoue a clear unanimous decision, marking his 4th victory of 2025 and 2nd consecutive points win. Meanwhile, Inoue's win sets up growing anticipation for a potential all-Japanese showdown with Junto Nakatani next year in Tokyo. Nakatani won his own bout earlier in the night, defeating Mexico's Sebastian Hernandez by unanimous decision in his super bantamweight debut. However, Inoue stressed that nothing is finalized, though he said he would love to make a fight happen that would get everyone in Japan excited. Also, Nakatani improved his record to 32 wins with 24 knockouts, but admitted Hernandez tested him in the second half of the fight. He said the experience highlighted the demands of the division and expressed his intention to pursue a title shot against Inoue next.
And for our showbiz news, Carla Abellana has entered a new chapter in her life after marrying her non-showbiz partner in a private and intimate wedding ceremony. Meanwhile, actor Miles Teller turned a year marked by tragedy into a moment of holiday warmth, surprising his wife Kelly with a remade version of her wedding dress after the original was destroyed in California wildfires that burned down their Los Angeles home. Jane Cognita has the latest buzz.
Actress Carla Abellana has tied the knot with her non-showbiz partner in an intimate and private wedding ceremony, marking a fresh chapter in her personal life. The wedding was attended by close family and friends, with a couple choosing to keep most details away from the public eye. Photos and well wishes shared online quickly drew warm reactions from fans and fellow celebrities, many of whom expressed support and happiness for the actress. Abellana continues to receive messages of encouragement, with fans wishing the couple happiness and stability in the years ahead. Actor Miles Teller surprised his wife, Kelly Teller, with an emotional and deeply personal Christmas gift, a recreated version of her wedding dress that was destroyed when their Los Angeles home was razed by the California wildfires earlier this year. According to People magazine, the couple's home was burned down in January after fast-moving wildfires tore through parts of Los Angeles, forcing evacuations and leaving widespread destruction in their wake. Among the irreplaceable items lost in the fire was Kelly's original wedding gown. In a touching effort to help heal from the tragedy, Teller secretly worked to have the dress carefully remade, turning a painful reminder of the disaster into a symbol of love and renewal. The surprise was shared during the Christmas season and drew praise from fans, who called it a meaningful way to honor their wedding memories. And that's it for today's entertainment news. This has been Jane Cuniter, Global Citizen Correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Tourists are gathering at Changbia or Changbai Mountain in northeast China to experience the newly unveiled Cloud Top Palace, a spectacular snow sculpture that has drawn widespread attention on its opening day. One visitor said he traveled to the site for both cultural and personal reasons, noting that the palace was featured in a popular Chinese novel series Dao Mu Biji, and that he wanted to share the experience with his mother during her trip to Changbai Mountain.
主要是有2个原因，一个是我之前看过那个《盗墓笔记》，它有一个线索就是来在云顶天宫，所以我特别想来看一看。第二个就是带我妈妈来长白山玩，然后云顶天宫也是一个必打卡的地方，所以我们就选择来到恩都里的云顶天宫来玩，非常的震撼。它从图片上和肉眼上看是完全不一样的，来现场看发现云顶天宫它更壮观、更宏伟，而且那边的景色就是一半人间一半天宫的感觉，非常的壮观，很喜欢。
Other visitors were seen taking photos and exploring the snowy site, marking the first day since the attraction's completion. Drone footage showed the massive snow sculpture rising dramatically against the winter landscape. Everyone was excited to be among the first visitors and urged others to come, describing the Cloud Top Palace as a breathtaking, once-in-a-lifetime experience. And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. In everything you want to do, if you're committed, if you're consistent, you will succeed. And for our New Year's countdown, only 3 days to go before 2026. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Carlo de la Peña. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI.